basically what you need to make sure you're doing from a nutrition standpoint is make sure your kids eat enough, that's a huge issue with
Yeah,
young
it's
kids.
hard.
Hardest thing ever is actually eating enough. Now, how do you know if you eat enough? This is the hardest thing to figure out, especially when you're young, especially if you're busy, whatever, if your parents that you just never paid attention to it. It's very, very difficult to know the answer to something that you're not tracking or you're not analyzing. So how do I know if my kid's eating enough? You don't. The only way you could actually figure it out is if you track what they eat. That's the only way you could figure it out.
Yeah, watch them eat it.
Watch them eat it, right?
Yeah.
So, which is not practical, right? It's not very practical for people to do that. So what you can try to do before you pull out the freaking food scale and all this stuff, because you don't have to do that, just make sure that they have all of the macronutrients at every meal. That's all. And then they have to finish what the meal is. Unfortunately, as athletes, a lot of times intuitive eating doesn't work, because if you just intuitively eat, you're not going to eat enough. As soon as you're full, or as soon as you feel like you're satisfied, most people, before they're conditioned to eat like an athlete, they'll just stop eating. Unfortunately, as you get older, when you're burning 4,000, 5,000 plus calories in a day because you're skating and working out and active all day, you can't just stop when you feel like it. I don't feel like eating anymore. Yeah, I know. If you stop eating, you're actually not going to have enough calories to sustain yourself, right? So it ends up being part of the job. It's not a lifestyle for most people. Like, most people shouldn't try to eat until they can't move or eat until it's uncomfortable. That's not what they should be trying to do. And I'm not even suggesting that you necessarily have to do that when you're younger, but erring on the side of eating more as an athlete. Again, very important that you understand I'm saying as an athlete. You have to try to eat enough calories to sustain yourself and to make sure that you're growing. Kids come in here all the time like, I can't put on weight. Doesn't matter what I eat, I can't put on weight. It's because you don't eat enough. There's only one way, right?
It's so funny when people say that to you, and then you say, "What'd you eat? What have you been eating?" And then you go, "Well, yeah, because you've basically had one meal or two meals a day. You're not eating even close to enough."
And they think they eat a lot, right? So the best thing, my practical advice for that, without having to actually measure, because for a lot of people it's just not practical. If you want to do that, if you take a 2-week time frame and actually measure out your food, I think it's such a productive activity.
It is,
because you don't have to do it forever, but you can just kind of see what things look like.
You start realizing that, okay, if I get up, I get enough breakfast if I have 3 eggs and egg whites, or 3 eggs and a small bowl of oatmeal. So you don't have to measure that for the next 16 years. You go, okay, that's roughly what I need, and then lunch should be somewhat the same. You do that for a week or two, and you don't have to make it a lifelong study.
Right. So if you do it for a period of time, great. If you don't want to do that, then all I would suggest in terms of being practical is just eat on a schedule. So say I eat at this time, this time, this time. This is why a lot of times you'll hear people say they eat 6 meals a day or 5 meals a day, because now at least it doesn't matter what I feel like, I have to eat at this time. So I eat at these intervals, and make sure that it's a balanced macronutrient profile. You have some of everything there. And then you're going to be in pretty good shape in terms of eating enough, So schedule it instead of just eating when you feel like it or snacking when you feel like it. And then you'll give yourself a better shot at eating enough, because that's a big thing for kids that, especially when they're in their growth years, it's very important that they try to get enough of that in, right? Because that's what's going to stimulate it. From the hydration standpoint, this should be something you start every day with. Like, it should be your first move every day. You just went 8 hours plus with no water when you're sleeping. You're dehydrated, man. Get up and start with that. And it could just be a glass of water. It doesn't have to be crazy. A good rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces every day of water. So if you have like one of these shaker cups here, this is, I think, 22 ounces. Okay, so this is a good measuring tool to use, right? It goes in increments of about 20 ounces. So try to get half your body weight in ounces. If you're really sweaty, because...
You're saying half your body weight in ounces per day?
Per day.
Okay, I was going to say, it's not in the morning.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, not in the morning.
Then you stand at the toilet and pee for 6 hours.
Right. Yeah. So you start your day with whatever. So for me, for example, every morning I have this thing. I fill it with water. I do a scoop of BioSteel and creatine every morning. That's my first move every day, and I just drink it all right away. Boom. So right there, I just got 22 ounces of water before I did anything in the day. That's a good way to start. Then, yes, to be more clear, then you want to shoot for around half your body weight in ounces. And then if you're super sweaty, then you should go plus maybe 20% to account for fluid loss from workouts and stuff like that. So that's kind of really a rule of thumb. Half your body weight in ounces. If you're getting really sweaty that day, an extra 20% or so from for your exercise. That doesn't even count fluids you get from water or from food, because there's a lot of water in most foods, so that will help as well. But hydration is a key thing. A lot of people, if you get headaches, if you feel just groggy, that lifeless feeling like you were talking about earlier with the shakes you make, things that give you life, a lot of times that just has to do with being hydrated, right? So
Yeah,
that's
another thing, when if you don't pee a lot, that's probably a good thing. Like we always get chirped because we pee a lot. And like, if you have something wrong with your bladder or your prostate, it's like, well, no, look what I drank for the first 2 hours of my day, right? And continual, right? And it's just a good habit. So if you're not peeing, I'm not going to say every 6 minutes, but if you're not peeing on a good regular basis, then you might want to increase your intake of fluids as well.
Yeah, that straw yellow kind of color. No, if you got a thick pee, not good, not good. So I think, like, from a practical perspective, those are some things. So try to map out your meals on more of a schedule than just eating when you feel like it, and then make sure you have all the macronutrients, protein, carbs, fat. I very, very brush the surface on a lot of this stuff in the hopes that you go and look into it. Like, go and figure out a little bit about it. It doesn't take much, man. Go on ChatGPT, say, list me protein, carb, fat sources. It'll make you a great list. Keep it on the fridge, and you can figure it out from there. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. You take a couple minutes to figure it out, and it'll be super helpful to everyone in your family, including yourself, especially if you're not used to it. You know what I mean? So hopefully that kind of helps practically. And then the last thing, just to reiterate the food pyramid thing, make sure you're not, because parents do this too, make sure you're not reaching for the supplement or the performance booster before you take care of your daily habits. Start to correct daily habits. It could be as easy as add a protein source at every meal. If you've never heard anything I've said today before, if this is the first time you've heard it, start by just trying to add a protein source at every meal. If you don't even want to go that far, how about just ask, what is the protein source when you're eating? Just be like, okay, what thing here has protein? And try to figure that out. That's a great place to start, even if you want to go like micro baby steps, because that could work. That could just get you on the path of doing it. That's something that I've challenged all our kids, academy kids, with when we started talking about nutrition at the start of the year. It's like, be able to identify what is a protein, be able to identify what is a fat, be able to identify what is a carb, because then you can build meals with purpose. And I think, kind of wrapping it up, that would be back to the beginning, what you were talking about with your family. It's like, have a purpose to what you're doing. Like, your choices should have a little bit of purpose, and it doesn't have to be crazy, man. Like, the food conversation can get so annoying because people they're so quick to say, like, well, it's too extreme, or you're so extreme about it, or whatever. And it doesn't have to be that. It can be.
The other thing is, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah, it doesn't taste good.
And
yeah.
It depends on what you mean by that, because I mean, like, little things when you're eating like salads, just for example, a salad, how many people take the bottle of dressing that they got at the store and they dump that on there, and it's white and it stinks, and it's whatever's got whatever. You look at the ingredients, and there's 17 different ingredients that you don't even know what the words are. So it's probably an indication it's not that good. But like, I do not eat a salad that I make. That it's very simple. What do you want? It's like, I don't have to ask that question. I know what I'm going to do when I put a salad or I put veggies together. I'm going to drizzle some oil on it, like olive oil or avocado oil or whatever, and some balsamic vinegar. And I know it's healthy. It's 2 ingredients. And does it taste good? Like, for me, I think it's delicious, especially when you combine that with some, like, let's say if I have a salad and it's a chicken salad with, whatever lettuce or greens that you want on it, plus some peppers and radish, whatever it is, and you drizzle that on, it's like, it's actually delicious. You got a whole different type of flavors, but it's just, you don't have that fat, gross flavor that people are that they grow up with, right? You can very quickly enjoy the taste of health. You know what I mean? And in fact, you probably look, when you go back to, if you eat for a week or two, like on the healthy side, when you start eating something that's not healthy or it has a lot of shit in it, you start going, nah, I don't know, there's something wrong with that stuff. So it's like, but not everything has to be like taste. Like, I watch people order or have a pizza and they like look for sauce with a pizza. I go, like, what do you need sauce for a pizza for? And dipping it, it's like, it's just, ooh, that's just bad stuff.
Yeah.